Deliver as a treasure of salvation, which we will gradually find out. I know you have a lot of difficulties in your life. I know that sometimes loneliness is heavy. I know that sometimes you don't have someone to call or knock on the door and ask you to help you. Do not waste time. Make your experience with Jesus a friendship experience, so that you have this opportunity to share what you are, what you feel. Get closer to God and make your proximity to Him increasingly generate a fruitful friendship, so that you also have the right to sing this song, perhaps every day, even if it is a little bit of it, to beg and ask for your faith process to come out of the sphere of obligation and enter into the sphere of law, privilege. At school, in my group of friends, I was always very ridiculed, perhaps because of my physical size, which always made my activities difficult in sport, my activities with my friends. And even though I have lost a lot, I still suffer the same way. How can I get rid of this role, Father? I got tired of being the silly, and today I feel that I am lonely as I do not have to fulfill the role that before I fulfilled. Guys, what is interesting in the questioning of Junior, this goes for many people, is as follows. Every time we establish social relations, we end up distributing papers. We end up playing a role, and the others that are on our side. Like Junior played the role of the shoulder of the court. It made him create this character inside him and take him forward. Why? This is very interesting. In the social relationships we established, one role supports the other. When we, for example, ridicule someone and are in groups, ridicule the other makes us feel good with ourselves. Have you observed this? And then you realize that the moment you laugh at someone, the other is providing a social role. That is maintaining your joy, is keeping your satisfaction. This is terrible, but it is a reality that happens all the time. So much so that in family relationships, if psychology helps us understand this, that all the time we are exercising a kind of paper. For example, you have the successful family, but you also have the unsuccessful. You have the one who has achieved success, but you have the victim. And often the victim is maintained in the relationship with the one who is successful, because unfortunately, human relations always go through the comparison. And always the one who is in a favorable situation ends up playing this social role, which can be not only within the family, but it can also be in your working group, wherever it is. This is why when we talk about relationships, we need to be very aware and clear. So we need to always deepen human issues, so we can start identifying two very important things. What is the role I play in relationships? How do people interpret me? And then, how do I allow them to interpret me? Because it is one thing to be ridiculed once and you accept it. Another thing is that you are ridiculed all your life, and this becomes important for you to maintain the bond with people. And often the victim is maintained like this. The successful makes sure that the victim is always on her side because it's the best way she has to feel successful. How will a person feel successful if they are not comparing with someone? It's not true. And sometimes this comparison happens all the time, and we don't realize it is happening. Indoors, for example, Junior, it is not just in your relationship with your friends. All the time you also play a social role. Now, my friend, you need to be careful because you are allowing this character going on. And it is you who created you, and you will have to destroy. It's not your friends who will change from you, but it is you who have to change. First, before yourself. How do you interpret yourself? Because if someone one day you thought you were the court silly, that you were the fattest, the funniest, the most. This happens a lot inside our homes. In our groups, when you realize that one person became a prisoner of what they allowed others to do from it, and it is paddling. In family relationships, our failed brother is often maintained by us who are successful. Because the moment we feed the relationship of dependence, so I take care of him all the time, I give everything he doesn't have. And then we understand a little bit what we said. That father who keeps the children too flattering, giving everything they want. protecting them from life. What you do is just that. You already raise a failed child because you do not prepare you for life's difficulties. There is that relationship of raising a character inside the child, who is the son you wanted to have. A child always stuck to you. A child always dependent. This is not what we have to educate our children. We have to be very careful for us to identify what is the social role we are playing in the house and away from home. This is a matter of conduct that you find out if what you live in fact, is the most honest you can live. No one was born to be a court silly, and we, very easily, elected these fools from the court. Right. Because we need them, hell. We always need to have the ridicule of our heir. So, we have to be careful. Even within the seminar, this is very common. A place where we are educated, I can say, because I lived all our lives in the seminary. We risk always having the most silly, that everyone makes more silly and gets more silly, more silly, more silly. Time goes by, and he does not learn but another one, if not the most silly. It is a crime that we commit with them. Because when we allow a person to be fulfilling this role, it is that good. That everyone does from him what he wants. It does not mean that we will extract from his kindness and withdraw. Be bad now. It's not that. It means that we will say and fight that no one is limited to being just this government. No. It is available, but it will not be silly for all. It is the one that will always be available. But then let's find out a way to grow it from this availability so that it does not become a burden to it over time. This is very natural to happen. You really need to be aware of what you have allowed others to do with you. And it's not waiting for others to change, my son. No one will change, okay? The role you played is already decorated by them. Who has to change the script of the movie, of the story, is you. Because in your life, who rules? Who's the director? Who is the writer, screenwriter? Is you. God only knows. God only knows how much I redo myself, so much so that I am more whole through this program. Through everything God has allowed me to live here in this territory. Through you who receive me at home. And every Wednesday give me the opportunity to be a priest, to be able to share my life, to be able to reflect the lives of others here in a respectful way, making it raw material of our evangelization. Then I get back to music, why I'm saying all this, right? Be my best friend. It moves me. And I think this is the biggest challenge that I live as a man and also as a priest. Because I want Jesus to be my best friend. Yes. Because I learned that if I'm close to him, being his best friend, I will respect what he asks. Because we treat the best friend like that. Especially when you know that your best friend is much better than you. When he has much more lucidity than you. When he has a lot more history than you. He is my best friend. I want to look like him in my daily life, because I believe the quality of my ministry depends on this similarity. I want to have the same availability he had. I want to live similar to him in his ability to love, in his ability to welcome people, and to be able to tell him every day at all times of my life, Lord, I am here. Protect me from all ills. Protect me from all the excesses. Protect me from all that can remove my intensity. Protect me from all those who don't love me the right way. Protect me from all those who somehow want to trivialize who I am and the wealth of the ministry that the Lord has entrusted to me. Joy is always a call, right? I want to share with you so that you are also summoned by her. For joy that springs from being a friend of Jesus. I know that sometimes we understand religion as obligations, right? As situations that make us do this, to do that. Don't forget that. We hear in the new song, we want to experience and experience this in our lives, and then convince those who watch us, those who read us, those who listen to us, who being a friend of Jesus is not a burden. On the contrary, is a privilege, and that having Jesus as best friend is a guarantee that we will be good friends of others as well, because every time we experience Jesus as the best friend of ours, we get more aware of the way we are friends of others. I know that in this time so marked by the lack of confidence, the lack of faithfulness, right? Sometimes I find so many betrayed, injured people trusted someone, that someone who she trusted betrayed her confidence, was not faithful. He told what was so particular, what was sacred secret, right? Sacred secret. Beautiful, the junction of both words, right? Trivialized the feeling. I know that at this time, where we are so at the mercy of the violence of the other, so many people are today being violent against the values that make us people. Have this mystique. I know people will betray us, but if we are a better friend and let Jesus be their best friend, I say now, and I always wanted to say that, my best friend is Jesus. Because he is the one who saves me every day, he is the one who reconciles me. He receives me with open arms, even though I was so injured, so sinful. And I want him to be my best friend, as I want it to be my reference all the time. I want him to be my way. I want him to be my truth. Ricardo Sa now just tweeted and talked about it, the value of the truth. How good we deal with the truth, no matter how hard it is. And Jesus does not work with my lie and is not willing to receive me when I want to lie to him. Because with the lie, he can do nothing in my life. So I can only be true before him. Spread my miseries on the table and be aware that it welcomes all this as long as it is my truth. Being his best friend and allowing him to be our best friend. It is us to establish this bond, my people, who won't let us be paralyzed. Spiritual growth is that. It is advancing in friendship with Jesus. And why am I friend and is interested in his life? Isn't it obliged to read the Holy Scripture? Isn't it an obligation to attend Mass every Sunday? Isn't it obligation to say my daily prayer? No, none. It is privilege. Because when I pray, when I adore reading the Gospels, when I participate in the Eucharist, I have the opportunity to be alone with my best friend. Religion is that. I like to say that. To pray is that we are in a private audience with God. We are received at a particular audience by the one who knows all of us. And there, at that moment of intimacy, we have the opportunity to share our hearts, to share our difficulties, and to give it to him in the certainty that he will not trivialize, nor disregard what we give him, because the best friend, the true friend, knows how to respect yous. And I would like to invite you in this program. And from this program, you also bring the mystique of this friendship with God. To grow in faith is to grow in friendship with the Lord. To pray is that you set growth opportunities in the Lord. And all that we do, because religion proposes to us, is nothing but taking steps towards the maturity of this friendship. A mature friendship is undoubtedly the result of a lot of effort, a lot of work. We are not close friends overnight. It may even have facilitators. We have a lot in common. But confidence is an element that is gradually happening. And this confidence we need to have in God. It is also due to the process of approaching this God and trying to know him through all that is at our disposal, through all that the church us. And sometimes we are very cruel to us. We feed for years and years and years without realizing that we are feeding the spirit of victim. Life owes us nothing, no. Life is always beautiful if we perceive it like this. If we are willing to throw our eyes to what remains, okay, we lose. And what can we do to recover even a little more than what we lose? Sometimes, in some situations that we think was loss, it was deliverance. It has become a joke at home, because everything I say is deliverance now. The business didn't go wrong. And because before I was very annoyed, with anything. So sometimes gave me irritation of a flight that went wrong. Not today. I have been trying to replace the logic of what pissed me off for it. So okay, it wasn't because it wasn't supposed to go. So I will enjoy this moment that I have here and realize what this moment I can extract well. And when we start abandoning this spirit that is sometimes devilish, why is it devilish? Because it breaks the harmony within us. Diabolos, in Greek, is all that separates us. Everything that separates. Everything that breaks. So I often have devilish feelings. If I keep looking at my life and I find myself a poor little one who is a victim, poor thing of me, this self-pity, this is devilish. It's a feeling diabolical. I have more to roll up my sleeves and go after what I can do yet. And even recognize the part that fits me and what it doesn't work. Because sometimes it is a sequence of errors. It went wrong here, went wrong there. And I don't have the courage to start looking at the way I have done things. Sometimes it is a disharmony that precedes all other mistakes. A harmony with which I am often, a disharmony with which I am often used to, and I no longer realize her effects on me anymore. So a good way that we have to cure our behavior. What is often decisive in us? Our way of being. I need to heal my way of being. It is me realizing the beauty of life. Yes. Life. It is beautiful. Deliver me from victimism and go to the fight. Go to get the part that fits me. There is so much what to live, my people. Pass to the hospital, and you will see. When the person faces the limit, the disease is like this, right? It removes us all excesses. We look very really. Find a person who is living the indigence that the disease shows, and you will see a real human being. Because sometimes when we are very healthy, very full of opportunities, we hide, we pretend. Now, the disease does not. It starts all of us. Turtle everything, everything, everything. Everything that it may seem like a hiding place to us. Everything that can work as a hiding place. By the way, I have identified how, and the person lives the maturity, how they dispense with these lifelong hiding places, and how good it is to live with these people who are no longer in need of the hiding places, when they are, and only. Maturity does this to us. We will dispense with the hiding places that were once so fundamental for us to realize who we want to be. And then the very movement of time makes it beside us who really became interested in us and not in our peels. Because success is a shell. Sometimes the person approaches you because you know that you are a person who worked in your area. So it is good to appear by your side. It is good to take a picture with you. It is good to demonstrate to others that it is your intimate. That she is your friend. She is interested in the shell you have, which helps her have another shell. That can be interesting. Today we live at this time, right? Where we show so much. We show so much. Everyone has a social network where it shows a little. This can become a neurosis because you end up looking for people. Not to find them, in fact, but to feed your need to register and have material to publish later. So when we meet, and we have no need to publish what we live, it is because of fact we appreciate what we live. I am not saying that it is a problem to publish. I am saying that many times, in overpublication, we are hiding our need to instrumentalize the other. Just enjoy the bark that is the other. Then I was saying the success. Success is an example, but the money too. How many people approach others because of what they can materially offer them? What is also a nonsense, right? What may be the most comfortable situation in the world? I particularly can't stand if my soul wasn't feeling well. That wonderful bar. We'll spend a week there. God forbid. Of a wonderful boat with people we do not identify with them. What may seem like a paradise to me is hell. But we're going to make a beautiful trip. All for free, all paid. And what do I pay to be emotionally there? And there are people who are subject to IT, spend the weekend there or here just to appear, just to keep the shell that is yours and the others. And then the hollow of the heart happens naturally. We are getting hollow inside because life is so out, and so little in, so little inward. We will lose its inner joy. So overcoming all this to make life worthwhile, it requires a daily reflection, requires a daily exercise to identify where we in fact are exercising. You might think this is what I'm talking about is from me. No, I speak of myself too, of course. But I'm sure you, in different instances, lives the same conflict as I live. You also realize the social hollow, the anthropological hollow, right around you, or even in you, because this has been a feature of our times. We are increasingly empty. We are indisposed to the contents. We are very affectionate to brief speeches. And with that, we are causing a human damage. This social chaos, my people, is the result of a human damage that we are slowly living, without realizing that we are living. Because we are increasingly impoverished from the human point of view, of even citizenship. Sometimes talking about Christianity, I need to recruit the values off the citizen. Even for me to understand what it is to be a Christian, I need to understand what it is to be a citizen, which is precisely to be aware of the logics of the city. What is being aware of the logic of the city? It is knowing that there is a common good, that I do not have the right to paint that wall because it is not mine. That house is not mine. How am I going to paint the wall that does not belong to me? The owner of that wall did not choose that graffiti. He didn't ask anyone to do. Then we go there, we feel the rights to buy our sprays and go out banging the house of others. Or is it a square that was made for all of us, and I use it as if it were made only for me? I break, I damage, I play trash on the floor, or because I realize that there is no policing. You see, we are talking about a human damage that we cannot even count anymore. Because this is where we are getting poor, with the quality of the people. You know, when you realize that a child is getting delinquent, when you realize that an already young child, absent from rules, absent from learning that can put in it a natural morality, you know, an ethical impediment, so that it does not harm the other, so that she does not kill the other, so that she does not steal the other. Learn from a child. She questioned Alexander Garcia, right? What country are we building that gives us the right to break all social rules for a particular benefit, for a particular convenience? Because we are hollow, we are empty, we are silly, we are superficial, we are futile. And this futility, this superficiality has caused a terrible social damage. Increasingly, I have believed it. See, my people, because God's care often in my life is to close doors. Interesting, isn't it? How do we have difficulty understanding love at the moment something is denied to us? It is like this with our mother, with our father. When you ask her something, she says not to you. Maybe not now, but in other moments of your life, and you, because I didn't know how to understand why. I thought she didn't love you. It was deference, right? Only then, with the experience of time, of maturing, of being a father too, restrictions that were absolutely necessary, brought restrictions that were absolutely favorable to you. I keep thinking that knowing God's love in our life is precisely to be able to understand the no. Today I was listening to that old song, Remember the Gonzaguina? How is the tone, Christian? I think that's the same tone. Who called me? Who will want to go back to the nest, to discover their place there, the chorus, which is the part that I want. You will see that it is still the story has no end continues, whenever you respond, yes to your imagination. To your imagination. The art of smiling each since the world says, No. Oh, it's too hard, isn't it? To smile when the world says no to us. Smile when you have to face the non-life, because it is not always that it happens as we want. People die ahead of time, right in our understanding. People go away ahead of time. We are never satisfied with what we live, with what we had. So how hard it is to deal with the no that life has given us. Oh, but I wanted it so much for me, Father, and I didn't have it. And then you find out the art of smiling even when the world says no. Gonzagina knew things. It was already plunged into the sensitivity of the world, or knowing the truths that we are not always able to understand at first. Not as a place of love, my people. I understand God's care in my life. Yes, allowing myself, but also denying me a lot. It's not for you. It's not time. And you have to manage your life in your life. And yet you keep smiling. Not a silly smile. No, the one who is born of the deepest conviction that you did the right thing. This is the greatest comfort, my people, that we can experience in life. It's an existential comfort for you to know that you did the right thing. That you, despite having so many doubts at that time, was so difficult to have been so heavy. That you have come to the conclusion that you made the right choice. The art of smiling each time the world says no. It is so beautiful when a human being stands at the need to be better. When the human being is facing the possibility of overcoming a limit he has. This is holiness already happening in us. Because sometimes we think holiness is already a definitive state. No. We need to understand that holiness is procedural. She slows down in our lives. And when I decide to be better, holiness is already taking over me. It is not when I will be better than I will be holy. No. In the very desire to be holy, in commitment, in that effort that we make, there we are already savoring the holiness. God knows the limits we have. God knows our sins. But we cannot understand that this limit, this sin, it is a definitive hindrance to holiness. No. It is the lack of will that is the great obstacle to holiness. Because as we fall, the heart that is truly immersed in the mystery of holiness, it does not accept to be fallen. He wants to improve. When we realize that we hurt someone, the first movement of us, who is living honestly the process of wanting to be better, is we look, sorry. Forgive me. I didn't want to do it. Or at that moment, I didn't realize I was hurting. I didn't realize that I was hurting. This is what makes the world better, actually. We decrease the power of violence. Sometimes we are beaten, and there is no other way. A person may assault you the moment you say something from you unfairly, but you can take revenge on it. But I don't know if revenge is a beautiful way to correct the world. I don't know if the moment you take revenge on the one who made some injustice against you, you are actually creating a context of injustice. And the beautiful of life is it amazing how sometimes I'm here facing a problem. It is not even a wickedness. No. It is a behavior that is no longer free. This is very interesting that we pay attention. My behavior, do I have it freely or do I have it in a conditioned way? The book Where Your Step Is Your Heart? It is a reflection just about it all that I am talking to you. It is actually a portrait of our day. The character who talks to his conscience, is a little of all of us. And here there's a time when consciousness shows him that our way of being is not always free. Why? When is my behavior free? When I am aware and in the face of the conscience I choose to do that. My people, my behavior today, reactive. It is very uncommon, because I am conditioned to have it. And the more I reproduce it, the less free I get to decide not to reproduce it. I return to the retreat. So when I have a group there of 20 people, at most, to live 2 days and removing with me, what is our biggest difficulty? Turn to us from the world that stimulates. I say again, always justified. It gives a break between one lecture and another instead of leaving contemplating that wonderful nature we have, breathing a fresh air that is missing. When I go up to Jordan Fields, which is one of my favorite places in the world, when I breathe that air, when I look at that, I forgot what it calls. It is a red thing that gives the trees. No, we know if this is a fungus. It is a bacteria. Lichen? What is that? A lichen? Is it a fungus? A lichen? Play there on Google for us to know. It only gives places where air is pure, isn't it? And I am so happy to see that everything there is lichen in the waters. Then I breathe deeply. Why? There I am living all the rituals that my body needs to shut down. Everything that tires me. So, sometimes people hang on the tip of the trees to see if they take the signal. Such anxiety to know what is happening. We have a pretense of commanding the world that is an absurd thing. We are very arrogant. We leave the house, and we think our house will stop because we left it. Let your child turn a little with his children there. Sometimes the house will be even better without you there. And when you come back, they will realize how important you are within that context. Let people feel a little around you. Do not insist with your presence. But we are not free not to act like this. We are all very conditioned. All very conditioned to have quick answers all the time. Answer because the other is filling us. That message box fills. No, though. We go to our room. The book talks about it. We take our authorized invader, which is the cell phone. We lay with it. That moment that should be dedicated to a book, light a candle, a smell in the room, so we can relax. Take a bath with more awareness of what is happening. The water that purifies us. From the soap that smells good to help us rest. We don't live any of this. The table has long ceased to be a place of right, meeting, people who love each other, people who want to know each other. So we are not having any respect for the rituality that would rest us, which would provoke well-being in us. We are breeders, I say again, without any freedom of choice. Because we are conditioned, we are increasingly conditioned to respond from this or that way, a form that was dictated by someone, which is not for us when we need to live the rituality that rests on us, that throws us inside, to favor an inner life. No, we have our games, our scattered phones that take the place of a reading, which take the place of it, and always justified. Answering an email, we lay on the bed with that light on our eyes, always justified. I say again, a routine that brutals us. Yes, because we are getting more and more gross. Sensitivity, my people, is not enough to have. You need to educate it, just as desire is educated. You educate a child's desire. You educate the taste of a child. Last week was this good discussion there on Twitter. Can I force my child to eat something he doesn't like? Look, I'm from the following opinion that if you know that food is critical to your child's health, it would be very good for him to learn to eat him. Very well, as a father, as a mother, who is no use forbid your child, if you do not convince him that the ban is in his favor. It is for my good. If your child is not convinced that the ban is favorable to personal growth as soon as you turn your back and disobey, this is not what we want. Jesus does not want these kind of people. The saint is that person in which God has won. The sinner is that person where God is lost. Have you noticed that in many moments of our lives we are on this path? We are facing an event, the possibility of acting, and we will allow God to win with our attitude or we will allow God to lose. It all depends on what we will choose. This is historical myutics. It is when we find that in the now of life, we can light the light, or we can turn it off. May God win another place in the world, within our home, in our workplace, or God will lose a place. Who decides is US. God does not deny his grace to anyone. You don't have the right to say that you are a bastard, no. We are all under the aim of grace. Now, will we allow this grace to act or not? Good or evil, what we will choose to do, the word we will choose to say, the way we will treat the other, it all depends. Everything goes through our choice. My people, we are seeing how many bad things happen in the world. Why? Because someone is denying. Someone is closing the door so that God will not pass. So that God does not happen. We see this when injustice happens. But we also see God overcome when solidarity is the way to choose. Today you can choose. God will win or God will lose. It is you who decide. It is you who today chooses if God will have a chance in your family or if God will not have this chance. It is you who will choose if God tomorrow will have a chance in your place of work or if God will not have a chance. You are the territory of this action. The human being is a privileged place of divine action. This is how we can see. This is how we can understand God's action in time. The church updates it. Updates the presence of God in time Christian life. Is the proposal for us to make this God enter the bars of our history. To open the gates of our time, our lives, so that it may be a present reality. Are you a territory where God will act? Where God will have opportunity? Where God will grow? Where the good things in life will flower? Or will you be a territory where God will not have the opportunity to grow? And you will be a dry, sad, abandoned territory. Not because God wanted it, because you did not allow it. God is a victim of human action. When I deny myself to do good, when I decide to propagate evil, when I decide to do the gossip, when I decide to thicken the team of those who are destroying people, when I choose not to be sympathetic, when I opt for the theme for the robbery, for injustice, I am preventing God's action. God is the victim of my choice. It is not that God is smaller than me. It has given me freedom to act, and my action can bring it or can throw it away. Your action in the world can bring God to history or may push it away, because you are a territory where God wants to plant your roots. If the good fight, you can be sure if you stay firm in front of all the choices that are part of the gospel, if you partner with God to be in a place where He has a chance, you can be sure that your greatest wealth ever it will be anticipated at this time, because you will turn into a rare person. You will become a special person. Now, if you deny, you don't allow God to be in your life, you will probably become more. That you will, and it is very sad to live like this. We find people who make no difference around the world, who are or not, but we rejoice much every time we find people who are able to transform their society, their time, their city through concrete gestures, of mentalities that become postures that are able to transform people's lives and make this world a better place. This is our desire. Today, giving God the opportunity to work something in our hearts. We all need. I need, you need. We are all the same. We are all in need of this transformation, this conversion, and then we expect you to relieve your heart.